left off, Spear was getting ready to rescue the slaves, and he was leading Mira and the others out. And in the fog, he seemed to be growling at something, so he detected something that we didn't see. Come to find out, it's the slave masters coming back, and they're like, what the frick are you doing? Are you stealing our slaves? Of course, a fight was going to ensue. Of course, Spear is not one to run away from a fight, so when he sees a horde of these people on bears, there's a standoff, but the slaves quickly bow their heads out of respect and fear. I don't think this is much respect as it is fear, because, I mean, these people were probably tortured and beaten. But Spear is not one to back down from a fight. It's so crazy because the guy sees the sword that Spear is holding, and immediately he's like, you freaking bastard. You killed my brother or whoever that sword belonged to, and now it's a fight. I don't even know if the guy was getting ready to kill Spear at that time. He probably would have been like, who are you? What are you doing? But there's really no reason for him to talk because he's in the middle of trying to steal the slaves, and that's like their moneymaker for this village. So the guy crawls out, of course. It's war. The bears roar. Mira is pulling on Spear, and she's like, kneel down, because in her mind, she knows that if he isn't submissive, these guys are going to kill him. She knows that they're way stronger, and she's thinking, oh god, they're gonna kill him. They're gonna kill him. I don't want to get killed. But then this part is freaking amazing. I love how they do this because this whole episode, I feel like it was a POV into the minds of these villagers, into these people's minds, how they saw what we were looking at. Like, we know Fang and Spear, and we're like, okay, Fang and Spear are our babies. We love them. We don't want anything to happen to them. But the villagers have never seen this. They probably have never seen a caveman. They probably have never seen a dinosaur, or they've only heard about them in stories. So can you imagine, like, how they do the scene? Just look at this real quick. How they do the scene is so excellent. It is so bone-chillingly done, so freaking well, of them just looking at all the elements being affected around them and hearing what they hear in the distance. It feels like something from out of Jurassic Park. I will say this episode is very dark, but it was done expertly well. You see, that's the part where I'm like, oh god, what's going to happen? Who's a-coming? It sounds like the boogeyman's coming. It's freaking amazing. And to them, it's like, what in the monster? Can you imagine? Like, this whole episode feels like something that this town is going to write in their storybooks, and it's called Red Mist for a reason. So they're seeing all these birds fly away. Everyone is reacting weird. Their bears are acting crazy. And Spear already knows what it is. Fang just jumps on top of the roof, and she is roaring, and all these people are seeing this is probably the first time that they've seen a dinosaur because they're just completely shocked by what they're seeing. It's freaking amazing. And the way she comes in, she's like, because he told her to wait in the background, she's just roaring on top of this house. The slaves are like, what? And I love it because he's like, yeah, boy, and then she just drops. This whole segment, when Spear was about to get killed, it kind of reminded me of that scene with Daenerys and Drogon. See that? They're looking up in the sky, everything goes quiet for a second because there's a lot of people who thought that in this Game of Thrones era that dragons didn't exist. That was just mythology for them. And then they hear this thing from the sky, they're like, okay, what bird is making that sound? Sounds pretty large. I don't know of any bird that makes that freaking sound. Everyone stops killing enemies, victims, they just stop what they're doing. This part is amazing. And then right as Daenerys is about to get killed, just like Spear was, that's when Drogon comes in. It's freaking amazing, man. One of my favorite scenes in Game of Thrones ever. comparison. I absolutely love it. I love the comparison. It was so freaking great. I just immediately thought of Game of Thrones because it's exactly the same thing that played out with Daenerys and her dragon. She's in trouble and you think, oh God, she's outnumbered, she's gonna die or something bad's gonna happen, and then you hear something in the distance and here's her freaking dragon. If you guys haven't watched Game of Thrones, honestly, watch it. Watch the entire thing. And when season 8 comes around, don't worry. Just watch a video with the Saw theme and how Game of Thrones actually ended. With the Saw theme, it has to have the Saw music. There's a specific channel that will complete everything. That's how it was supposed to. That's the actual real ending for Game of Thrones. I'm making that official. It's the real ending for Game of Thrones. I don't care what anyone says. So this whole episode was so freaking brutal. This is the first time Mira ends up killing someone. She does everything to save her people, and poor Fang is getting beat up. Meanwhile, Spear sees that they have the children, they're women with suckling babies. That baby looks like a freaking anus, bro. Like, look at its face. Look at its face. You know what it looks like? You know that show Preacher, the butt mouth guy? Yeah, that's what this baby is giving. It's not its fault. It'll grow into its looks. But they all have this symbol on their shields, and Spear doesn't want to kill them. He realizes that these are regular people. But only when they start attacking does Spear realize that he's going to have to do something to get out of this. He can't just sit here or he's going to end up dying because these people think and believe that they are just protecting their village. Like, this is their way of life. To them, having slaves or their husbands selling them, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make it right. It sucks. But I like what Primal does, because even though you do have people who are considered enemies, at some point, especially with other human beings, they don't just make them enemies, they allow us to see things from their point of view. So it makes it hard to hate them. You can kind of understand where everybody is coming from. I think this is a little boy, and he ends up helping his mom and helping the village fight. All the women are fighting, you know, when their husbands are all killed, when their husbands are having a hard time, they come out and they go to help their husbands. Fang doesn't know any better. She's like, okay, you guys are killing me, so I'm going to kill you. And the way they get killed, bro, the way they get killed is so freaking savage. This entire episode was savage. There's one particular woman who I think she's a leader, the chief's leader or whoever, and she goes out to fight Fang. Fang is so pretty, by the way. Look at her face. And she's a big ass woman. I mean, what do you call those women, the Viking women? The shield maiden? Yeah, she looks like a freaking shield maiden. Not saying that they look like that, but like how they portray them in media. The shield maiden's like, bitch. Because to her, poor Fang is just a monster. She's like, you're hurting my family. All they see, like the way that it's shot is so well done. Because all you see from their point of view is this big ass dinosaur storming through their village and killing everyone and this madman. So they're like, oh my God, what in demon's seventh hell is this? And they fight for their village. They don't run and cower. They stand and they fight. And Fang is just like, okay, you messed with the wrong one? And this woman's a badass because she still tries to fight Fang. And then the way that Fang just like continues beating her into the ground, Jesus Christ, that was freaking brutal. People's heads get chopped off. This is also the first time that I think I said that before, but this is the first time that Mira sees Spear killing people. Like, she's never seen him go ham before. We have, as the audience, from his perspective and Fang's perspective. But she's never seen that, and I could tell she was kind of afraid because she's like, okay, I want to get as far away from this as possible. I know that Spear is nice and he's my friend, but I'm scared. Until she actually has to kill to save herself. You can tell that she's remorseful as well when she does it because she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to have to kill. But at least she can't be on a high horse and be like, well, you killed these people, Spear. No, he killed because he had to. I mean, technically he could have just left, but these are people who were enslaving people. So as far as he was concerned, they're the enemy. Even though Spear feels that way, he goes out of his way to make sure that he doesn't kill the kid, and he ends up killing the child by accident, and you can tell how horrible he feels. Spear is not a bad man. Like, he's just broken because he's like, oh no, I was just trying to throw him off. He could have pelted that kid and torn him in half, but he didn't because he's not a child killer. That's not who he is. The adults are the ones that are attacking him. Even though the kids were attacking him too, Spear's not the kind of person who kills children. He's just not. And he's not an animal killer either, unless he absolutely has to. But he has a very soft side. You can tell that he is very human. He's like, no, I'm not gonna kill a child. It's not the child's fault what's happening. They're being led by their parents. Even though if you kill the entire village, the child has nobody to raise them. So it's like, okay, I will kill you, child. I'll leave you alive and just massacre your entire village. But you gotta understand, from Spear's point of view, he has dealt with way worse things than this, him and Fang. So killing humans is nothing to him. Like, he's like, okay, if you guys you're imprisoning other people and enslaving them, that's wrong. He doesn't know the concept of that, but he knows that them doing that, putting leashes around other people and treating them that way, he knows in his core that that is wrong. I think even if you were brought up, like, you can be brought up and have that trained out of you, empathy, but at the core, I don't think children are the kind of people who usually are born with the kind of humanity that says, I don't want to bring pain. As soon as we realize that we're causing pain to something, like, it clicks in our head that, oh, that's blood. There's like this visceral response to seeing blood or something in pain and understanding that it's in pain. After we get to a certain age where we're like, I don't want to do this to another living thing. I don't. Even to hunt. Most children would probably starve if their parents didn't teach them to kill another animal. They would just eat whatever and die, or they would just eat fruit. You know, there's something, vegans are kind of right. I'm not a vegan myself, but I understand where vegans were coming from, because if you had to choose, like, you've never hunted, like me, maybe men will, because they have more of a stomach for that. But me, as a stupid female, if I was on an island and I was like, okay, there are these coconuts and fruits over there, and there's this big ass boar that could feed me for days, my ass, not having learned to hunt or learn anything about meat, would choose the fruit. Number one, it's the path of least resistance. You don't have as much injury. You don't have to cook it. Most of these fruits that are just edible off the tree, as long as you know which ones are to eat, you just eat it. And where I come from, where I grew up, you know, fruits just grew everywhere. It's just like, you just walk and you just eat fruit. Most of our diet, like 60% of it to 70% of it, was fruit, you know, and then we had meat, like big meat on the weekends, you know, or throughout the week, we'd probably have a little bit of supplementary meat, mostly grain, mostly fruit. And that's just the way we grew up, because I just think that's how humans are. It takes people teaching you, no, this is how you kill an animal. This is how you skin an animal. This is how you gut an animal so you don't get sick. You know, you can't pierce this organ right here because then it will taint the whole meat. You have to be taught that stuff. That stuff is not instinctual. Eating fruit off a tree is. That's why we like colorful things that are bright and smell good. It's just how it is. When people, like, you know, the whole killing thing, and I would make friends with the boar, of course. I'd be like, hey, you want to come eat with me? Show me what to eat. When it comes to, like, killing things, these kids, or, you know, kids in general, have to be taught to kill things, or they have to be taught to mistreat other human beings. Like, there's some stuff that is just, it can be mean, you know, but a lot of that is trained in them as well, that meanness. So I think that Spear, like, showing the side of him, you can tell that his father, you also got a brief flashback of his father teaching him how to hunt and to respect things. They hunt to eat and to live, but not to be cruel. And he made sure that he taught Spear that. So of course, you can see that even though Spear can kill all these people, he still has empathy. Anyway, he rides Fang. This red mist comes over the entire town, and you could see from people's eyes, Fang and Spear look like boogeymen. They look like freaking demons. This is something they're gonna write about for ages. After they not ransack, but they literally slaughter everyone, because everyone's fighting them. What are they gonna do, right? They're like, no, you guys, you took these slaves, you hurt Mira, so I'm gonna fight. And then when you see the father and the son come back, oh my god. This is like a John Wick story. He finds his wife and I think this guy's little brother. They're wondering what the hell did this. This whole village is filled with warriors, and I feel so bad for them. We forget that these guys are the slave masters, right? They literally were coming home on a boat with slaves on it, in chains. So you're like, okay, we're supposed to not feel sorry for you, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I could understand. You're human, and you know, and I don't know, I don't think that the animator wanted us to be like, yes, rejoice over them feeling pain and massacring everything, because the truth of the matter is, everybody there at the village, they all have different views. There are kids there that don't know any better, and they grew up with this. Some of the wives, they're not going to fight their husbands. Their husbands are like, this is how we make money, or else we don't eat because of whatever's going on with the realm. You just kidnap some people and just give them away. Like, it helps to humanize the people who are supposed to be the enemies. The little boy does cut loose the slaves that they do have on the boat because they want to make a pyre, and they put the little boy and the mother, you know, to go out to sea, and it's so painful because the father can't even do it. He can't even give them the warrior's burial by setting the pyre on fire, and the son has to be the one to be like, Dad, I got it. So the father and the son, this is basically their origin story, and in their world, they're heroes. In their world, they're like, we gotta avenge our family. There's no need for us to stay in the village because everybody is dead. And the father is like, I'ma kill this bitch. Anyone, if I catch up to whoever it was, I am going to kill them. And you can understand where the father's coming from, because in his mind, not only did this person or beast or demon come through and kill his entire family, he killed a child. All the children that were there are dead. The newborn babies that woman had on her chest when Fang was slapping all of them around and killing them, that newborn baby's dead. So you gotta understand from his point of view, he's like, all right, I get it. Someone was upset about something, but you killed children? Like, no. That is, you kill women and children and old people. No, bitch. No, I can understand if you kill all the men. You kill our women and our children and our old people. This is unacceptable. Whoever did this is a freaking inhuman thing. So this is another element to the story that I'm glad that they added. It's really freaking cool. They put on their armor. You see him dressing his son, and the son looks like something from out of freaking X-Men, like the Juggernaut. And then they're ready to go and do battle, and that's how the story ends. Man, that episode was amazing. It was freaking brutal. It is right in the vein of Primal. I don't think he knows exactly what did it. He could probably have seen the footprints, but they took one of the boats. So I looked back and I didn't see at first where Mira had gone on the boat, but my partner did say that she was on the boat. I went back and looked, and surely enough, in the guy's flashback, he might not know this is what happened. This is probably just for the audience. But you can clearly see there's Spear, there's Fang, and there's Mira. She's the one who controls the sail and lets it down because she's probably used a boat before, obviously. And Spear is the one pushing off. So I don't know where all the other slaves went, but she's like, deuces. They ran into the forest, and she took a boat with Spear. Thank goodness she's okay, because that's initially what they came there for. I'm really happy about that. Anyways, guys, check out this episode. You can watch it on Adult Swim, or on Prime, or Amazon Prime, or, you know, HBO Max, or, you know, however. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.